Hey there, welcome back to Nancy's Homestyle Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a cold start, no boil yogurt using a multi cooker. It's a super simple recipe. It only calls for a couple ingredients and it's going to save you a bunch of money. I will go over the cost savings at the end of the video. I'll also show you how to make a yummy granola. This is also very affordable, uses a lot of pantry staples, and I think you're going to truly enjoy them both. Let's get started. First things first is we need to address the lid and specifically the gasket of your multi-cooker. Now you can get replacement gaskets super cheap on Amazon. I would highly suggest you do so because the thing with these gaskets is they tend to hold on to some of the smells from the more savory meals that you make in here. So what I do is I have one, it's labeled yogurt, and I use it just for making yogurt because I don't want my nice yogurt to taste like chili. So they're really easy to just pop in and replace, and then you're not going to get that carryover flavor into your yogurt. So I'm going to put my yogurt gasket in here. Okay, there we go. So we have the gasket. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll put the ingredients in here. The next step is to take your half gallon of milk. Now you need a ultra filtered milk. So you're going to look for the milks that are labeled lactose free. This brand is available up where I live. You may also be familiar with the Fairlife milk. Basically, they're ultra filtered to remove the lactose and they make the yogurt process much smoother. So you need a half a gallon of milk and just pour that directly in your multi-cooker without splashing it everywhere. All right. Then you need 1 tablespoon of yogurt that has live active cultures. So you want to look at the back of the yogurt container, and this one says at the very bottom under the list of ingredients, live active cultures. This is what is going to be the starter to turn all of this milk into yogurt. I'm using this Noosa brand. I get it from Walmart, and it is has a vanilla bean flavor. If you want to make plain yogurt, just get a plain yogurt that has live active cultures, but I don't mind the vanilla. So it calls for 1 tablespoon, so drop the tablespoon in there. Then you're going to take a whisk and whisk it up. If you tend to purchase yogurt that has some form of sweetener in it, you can use sweetened condensed milk. And I've done it. I've put about a half of a container in there, and it does give it that little sweetness that my husband and I are used to. But you can totally omit it if you want. Anyway, you guys, this is it. Milk and the 1 tablespoon of the yogurt with the live cultures. Just whisk it up. So we got this turned where I can see it. Now we're going to take our lid, make sure it is sent to the vent position. We're not pressure cooking this, we're just fermenting it. So leave it on vent and put your lid on. I'm going to turn the power on. Now I have my yogurt button is over here on this multi-cooker, and I have 2 options. So this machine will do a yogurt option where it does boil it, but I'm going to turn it to the ferment option. So I just go down 1 arrow, and then the arrows on the right increase the time. I normally do 8 hours because I don't like a really tangy yogurt, but you could bump it up to 9 hours of fermentation time if you like a yogurt that has more of a tangy flavor. But I just like 8, so I'm going to hit start. Now this is going to sit here on the counter today while I go out and about and do my things. Come back tonight, we'll take the lid off, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we're just going to cover it with some plastic wrap and stick it in the refrigerator overnight. It's 8 p.m. and this has been going all day. It is done. Let's see what it looks like. There's a lot of condensation under the lid, so just know that. And it has solidified and it looks really, really nice and just like the yogurt you purchase in the store. To refrigerate it overnight, we're going to take a piece of plastic wrap And this piece here is going to go all the way down and sit right on top of the yogurt. This will help it to not form a skin on it while it chills. So just shove it down there and cover all the yogurt. And then I'm going to use some of this press and seal wrap because this will stick to the outside of my pan where the other plastic wrap doesn't. And then if you stretch it, it will actually make a nice tight seal around the top of the yogurt. This goes in the refrigerator overnight, and in the morning, I'll show you how to finish and serve it up. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the next day, and I'm getting ready to take the yogurt out of the refrigerator. But before I do that, I promised you we'd make some granola to go with it. So let me go over the ingredients with you. It is 3 cups of rolled oats. I have just a little over a cup of almonds. I have a mixture of sliced almonds and almond pieces. You could use slivered almonds, just whatever you like. If you even want to substitute pecans, you can do that as well. I have a half a cup of flake coconut and a half teaspoon each of cinnamon and sea salt. And then our wet ingredients, we're going to use a 1/4 cup each of maple syrup, coconut oil, honey, and we're going to use a little bit of the maple extract. So I have my oven preheated to 325 degrees. And the first thing we need to do is mix the wet ingredients, 2 of them. We're going to put the coconut oil and the honey in a microwave safe container and stick it into the microwave so we can get the coconut oil to melt and mix it well with the honey. Once it's done, we will add in the maple syrup and the maple extract. Okay, so while that's going, this is super easy. Just dump these dry ingredients into a bowl. Now let's wait for the microwave for that to melt because we'll be mixing it all in the dry ingredients here. I don't know if you can see, the honey is definitely melted and the coconut oil is still a little bit solidified. But you know what, as I stir that up, it just blends right in. So this is good to go. We'll put a 1/4 cup of the maple syrup in here. And we're going to add the sea salt and the cinnamon. And the last thing is, I like a little more hint of that maple flavor. To me, it just really says breakfast. And it's a half a teaspoon. So you don't need that much. Okay. So just give this a good stir, get everything incorporated. Now I can move this over and kind of lightly toss the coconut, oats, and the nuts. Just to kind of start, we're going to keep stirring it anyway, so don't worry about it too much. And then just drizzle the wet mixture over. I would do about half of it. Give it a toss to coat. And then we'll finish with the rest of it. And you could really smell the maple. It smells so good. And when these almonds toast up and the coconut, it smells wonderful. I've tried a couple different granola recipes over the past year, and this is the one that my husband and I like the best. And it's called a maple and sea salt granola. And you definitely taste all of those flavors in it. That is mixed well enough. So let me move this over and I'll show you. I have a half sheet pan that I've just laid a piece of parchment paper on, and we're just going to dump this out on the pan. And get yourself a good spatula if you don't have one. These little silicone ones really get everything out of the bowl. And then you just want to just spread it out into an even layer. So we're going to bake this for 20 to 25 minutes until it's toasty brown and it smells really good. And in the middle of the baking process, about 10 minutes in, I'm actually going to come in and stir the ingredients so that way we could try to get everything toasted as much as possible. Okay, here's our granola. I'm going to go ahead and pop it in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. So while the granola is baking, I'm going to show you how the yogurt turned out. So this has been in the refrigerator since about 8 o'clock last night, and it is almost noon today. So it's been in there for over 12 hours, and I still have the piece of plastic wrap on top. So it doesn't really look any different than it did when we put it in the refrigerator, but it's all nice and chilled. And so what I do is I have these 32-ounce containers, and I just like to transfer it into these. I find that the yogurt really lasts a long time being stored in these containers, like maybe 2 weeks or so. I haven't had it spoil on me yet. And we don't eat it every day, but we'll eat it a couple times a week. But this definitely makes a lot. All right, there's our yogurt. And as you can see, they're a little shy of 32 ounces each. But essentially, we took a half gallon of milk, 4 ounces of yogurt, and we turned it into 64 ounces of yogurt. So that little one that I showed you yesterday, that was a 4-ounce container. So there's 16 of them within these 2 containers. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator while the granola finishes baking. I'm going to let it finish, cool, and then we'll come back. We'll plate this up with some fresh strawberries, and we'll go over the cost savings with you because I think you're going to be really surprised. Okay, the timer is about to go off. It has been 25 minutes, and you can just see how nice and golden brown it is. So we need to let that cool. But what I wanted to tell you is I have this flaky sea salt, and I'm just gonna do a real fine sprinkle over the granola while it's hot because it'll help melt this salt a little bit, and it'll just reinforce that sea salt flavor with the maple in the granola. So really maybe a teaspoon, if that, just to give it a little kiss of salt. Okay, I'm gonna let this finish cooling. Okay, so I thought I was done salting the granola, and then my husband reminded me that I was doing it wrong, and I need to do the elbow. So there you go. That's how to appropriately salt your food. The granola has completely cooled, and when you want to store it, it's actually going to start kind of breaking apart into some chunks. The honey and the syrup, you can see, look, there's some big chunks. They kind of solidify when they cool, and you want to break those up. I kind of like leaving some of the bigger chunks, and then I will break up the rest, and I store it in a mason jar with a lid, because if you've ever had ants, you know how important it is to keep stuff stored properly. So that's how I store it, and it lasts a couple weeks. But let's go ahead and do a taste test of the yogurt. Just gonna do a little bit, and I'm gonna put some chunks of the granola on here, as well as sprinkle some of the smaller pieces on. And then I sliced some strawberries yesterday. These strawberries at the store are huge. I don't know if you can see. They are big and so sweet, so they're gonna go perfect with this. Okay, So here we have our fresh homemade yogurt with our homemade granola and some sliced strawberries. So let's get a little bit of each of that in our bite. The yogurt is definitely tangy, and with the sweetness and a little bit of salty from the granola and the freshness of the fruit just makes this perfect. You could also put blueberries on here, peaches, whatever kind of fruit you would like, but it's really, really fantastic. So the final tally for the yogurt on the cost to make 2 of these containers, let me check my notes. The half a gallon of milk that I got was $4.37. The little 4-ounce container of yogurt I bought was 98 cents. Including tax, the total was $5.62. So I told you it was 64 ounces, so that breaks up to 16 4-ounce containers worth of yogurt. So if you do the math, that works out to about 35 cents a container for yogurt. So you could see with just a little bit of work, especially on the yogurt, it is so just mix it and forget it. And just using some of your pantry staples, throwing together a quick granola, you have a super affordable breakfast for your family. I hope you try it and enjoy it. And if you would, I would really appreciate it if you would like this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks a lot, and I will see you on the next video.